All right, welcome ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian McLogan and welcome to week number 68 Open Live Q&A, where my name is Mr. McLogan, and what I wanted to do in this live stream is kind of do something a little bit different. I always kind of talk about math or something related around there, but some things that kind of like have transpired through the last couple weeks that I realized, you know what, I haven't really taken some time in some of these live streams to kind of let you guys know a little bit of things that are kind of going behind the scenes with me. And I thought that would be something important because, you know, I get a lot of, messages throughout the year, and people saying like, oh, wow, I've been watching your videos all year, thank you so much. Or, oh my God, I can't believe this video, you've been making videos 10 years ago, all this kind of stuff. And so I know if you've been on some live streams, which welcome D Wolf and Biscuit. And oh, that's the old one. I don't want to get that. That's a fresh one. I want to get this new one that you guys have. Let's pop that out. All right. Now I see you guys going back in there. I feel pretty good. I'm hoping my stream is coming through. All right. I had to go through my Wi-Fi, of course, having some little difficulty. So hopefully everything is working out from there. But YSL and Brawat and Cynthia and Aragon, Original Physics, Shayna, Chloe, thank you so much, guys, for joining in. And that's some of those, cool things that I think that I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about. And then we will get into some open questions. And if you guys do have further questions for me, then you can always go and post them in for next week. Hopefully after this week, you guys will kind of see why I've kind of been a little bit distracted for my YouTube channel and as well as in my live streams. And that's what I wanted to kind of talk with you guys about, because one of the things I mentioned on my email list, which if you're not on my email list, I send an email each and every week. And if you go ahead and sign up to submit a question, then you can go ahead and sign up for the email list there. So I'll go ahead and post that in the comments for those of you that are interested. But I sent every kind of week that we talk about something for my live streams, I give you guys the link on the email. And then I also kind of, give you some kind of ideas of like either some things I'm going to talk about on the live streams or what kind of prompted it. And one of the things that, through this year, one of the things I think is the best gift of as far as being about teaching is that like connection you get, and I think there is a weird kind of connection that people get from just watching videos. I'm sure that's, because I've had this feeling before by watching people. I'm like, wow, I feel like I know you, right? I feel like I've been in your class or like I can learn from you. And there's like that weird connection of never meeting somebody, but when watching them or watching their videos, you kind of have that, you can definitely relate to them and kind of feel like you already know them without actually ever meeting them. But one of the best things about being inside the classroom is just that like natural kind of interactions you get with the students. And I think the toughest thing that we've happened this year is it was really hard to kind of create that. We started off the year virtual. I know many of you were virtual almost this whole year. And so it was very difficult to kind of build those relationships with your students. And even when we did get into the classroom, the mask wearing was, very, very difficult. I don't feel this year that I got the conversations that I wanted to when I'd create jokes and stuff like that. A lot of my students had no idea what I was talking about, So it was very kind of difficult. And so that's where I was like, you know what? I don't think my students really even know who I am. And I know many of you probably don't even know some, unless you've been watching some of my videos or been on a lot of my live streams, you might not know everything about me. So that's what I wanted to kind of just talk out a little bit about, just kind of give you guys a little bit of a background, and then also a little bit of, kind of going forward, some things that I am, kind of currently up to. So I did also post this question in the chat, and I'll actually on my I usually post this on my YouTube channel, not my YouTube, but my community post. And I want to see if there's any other questions that came in from there as well. So I'll go and answer some of those. So first of all, this is my 14th year teaching. I have over 11,000 videos. If you have seen any of my videos on YouTube, you're like, wow, like your videos keep on popping up, or it looks like you're doing questions. And yeah, when I started making videos in 2010, I just started creating every single time I would teach a problem or go over a homework problem. All I'd simply do was just record it. And so all the videos, I would say 99% of the videos that you see of me on YouTube is me teaching inside of a classroom. And that was one of the hardest things that I had to do this year, was not teach in front of the classroom because we had to wear a mask, and I could have done it. I know there's some teachers that like took off their masks. I could have taught with my mask on. It just didn't seem natural. So what I decided to do was just kind of make my videos after school and kind of reduce the number of uploads I did. So for the last like 2 or 3 years, I've been going live, or not live, but I've been creating a video each and every day. And this was the first year that I've just kind of slowed down those uploads. And so it's been nice because I haven't had to think about things as much as far as my YouTube channel goes, but it's also been difficult because, it's almost like 10 years in the making that I've just been so used to making videos and teaching. And whenever I'm teaching, I'm recording. And this year was kind of a little different from that. So that is definitely one thing as far as on my YouTube channel. I did become a teacher. That has been my only job. I've been teaching at the exact same school for the same, I've been at the same school for 14 years now, but, so I don't know anything different. I did go to school to become a teacher. I did want to become a teacher because I struggled with math when I was in high school. My famous thing that I like to always say is, I got a D in pre-calculus when I was in high school, but I got an A when I was in college. And part of that kind of transformation from struggling in high school to, doing well in college, really was like how I learned about what I learned about myself, and as well as about being successful in like math. And that's kind of like the approach that I like to take with mathematics as well as with teaching. And, I think if any of you have ever struggled with something, you might relate to my style of teaching, because I always like to not go so fast or skip so many steps. And of course, there's tons of videos out there where I do exactly that, right? I mean, if you're making over 11,000 videos, not every video is going to be perfectly instructed or explained. There's obviously, mistakes out there as well. But the approach that I always like to take with teaching is to teach a step-by-step, to really take students through the problem step-by-step, and to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, not just something to memorize and to go ahead and do. Some good news that has recently been going on is, if you notice recently, that we welcomed in our third daughter this past Wednesday, or actually 2 Wednesdays ago, I guess, something. So yeah, I went live on last Wednesday. I didn't mention it just because I've been very tired and very distracted. I didn't upload my video this week on my YouTube channel just because I was like, my thumbnails have just been really behind because my life has been pretty busy. So in addition to teaching this year, which I'm teaching Algebra 1, Geometry, and Pre-Calculus, I'm very busy at the moment getting ready for my exams. Very, very busy with that. And then also I have a new family member. So I have 3 girls, 3, 4, and a newborn. And that has been keeping me up. So it's been a awesome, great addition that I'm definitely happy to, share with you guys. I thought it was just kind of important. It's always kind of like one of those balances as far as like your real life, and like on YouTube, like how much and everything to go ahead and share. But I thought it was kind of important because it's been one thing that's really impacted the effort that I've been able to put into, my channel. Like I said, like I've just been really, a lot of things that I usually do on my channel, I just have not had the time to be able to do. And I thought it was important for those of you to kind of know about that. And also it's a good news. So I appreciate the congratulations and everything else. Thank you so much, guys. But yeah, it's, I think it's important to kind of also keep you guys in that, in the behind the world with that. And that's one of the things too, that there's so many things that I've wanted to do with my channel. And then obviously since my latest daughter's come in, I just haven't had the time and the exposure. So, definitely putting back into my stories. I was doing really good with the YouTube stories and Instagram stories and all those other different kind of content. So I'm definitely looking forward to continuing that as we wrap up this school year. So I think that is roughly, about it. I mean, there's tons of other things. If you guys have any questions that you would like me to go into, I'll be more than happy to do. I'll go and see if there's any other questions I did. But if you guys have any questions around me, I mean, there's tons of things I could talk about. We could probably spend like an hour just going over random things. But one person said, how long do you take to get good at calculus? It's kind of funny. That one notion of, you really get good at something once you teach it. I think that's true for all of my math. I couldn't believe once I became a teacher, once I got a degree in mathematics and then I became a teacher, I couldn't believe how many things that I did not learn or didn't maybe learn, maybe could do, but actually didn't really understand it until I became a teacher. Because then when you have to explain it, you have to like, oh, I just knew how to do it. I didn't actually know why or how I was doing it. So teaching definitely has helped me out a lot. Oh, well, thank you so much, Ethan. Your weekly donation is back. Well, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that, Ethan. And yes, so my favorite math. So I did like pre-calculus. I do not really like applied mathematics. A lot of people always think like, oh, do like real life situations and like, I don't like that stuff at all. I'm much more of a pure math. I like proofs. I like the underlying theory behind like how things are working and connected. I like the puzzles kind of idea with mathematics. I do not like applied mathematics. So I thought I wanted to go into physics. And then I was like, why? I don't, and then that's when I realized I'm like, I don't really like doing applied math at anything. And then another student also asked, I think this was kind of interesting. Not something I don't really talk about much, but some of the students like, what if you didn't become a math teacher? What would you have liked to be? Like, what other topics would you, have wanted to teach? And I think, correct me, I think I did. I think when I had to go and get my Florida license for teaching, I think I did get my math and my political science or social. No, I didn't get it because So anyways, my major is mathematics, right? That was in my degree. And then my minor first was, let's see, I did all of them. So I first did physics, and then I was like, nope, I don't really like physics. And then I did communications because I just heard there was like an easy A, but I was like, this is really, I did do some of the communications, with like the speech class, which was awesome. But then I was like, I don't want to do anything in communications. So I dropped that. And then I went into psychology, which I really, really loved, but it just didn't really resonate as well with me. And then I went into political science and I fell in love with political science. And that ended up being my minor, even though I've never taught a political science or a government class. But it was kind of funny. The reason why I fell in love with it is it was something I never cared about. Kind of same thing like with math in high school. I never cared about I remember taking government, never cared about it. It's just like one of those classes. I just did what I had to do to get the grade and to move on. And then I took like this one class, and it was the only class I ever remember I was excited to be like for class to start. It was like, how like you have those shows where like you can't wait for your show to be on and like you're all ready and prepped and like you're ready to go. You're so excited. Like that's how I was for that class. No math class was ever like that. No, any other class. This was the only class. I think it was like small government or something. And it was just the most exciting class. And I don't know why I took it. So I just decided after that, I was like, hey, I'm going to be political science. And then I learned all about the stuff that I never learned in high school that I was supposed to learn from in there. So that is some stuff. And then the only other thing too, I'll let you guys, I think another thing is, so I grew up also playing sports, football, wrestling, and baseball. And then my face is all messed up because I fell off of my bicycle because I still like to work out. I still do like morning bicycle rides, and I work out I do CrossFit. That's my easiest way for me to be able to maintain shape, because if I don't do CrossFit, I can't work out by myself. So I played sports, football, wrestling, baseball through high school. And then same thing for college. I played rugby, and even after college, I played rugby. So I'm very used to that kind of like community kind of working out. And that's what's kind of resonated with me with CrossFit. But yeah, doing rugby, obviously my body can't handle the bangs like it used to. All right. So let me go and see to some of your questions. Say hello back to M7D and Chitaki and the boss. Ethan, you look 10. Yeah, I was at my daughter's birthday party the weekend, and it was like overcast, but like the sun, how it's like, I say like the sun, like even when it's overcast, you still be covered up. Well, I was thinking it was going to be raining. So I was like, I should bring an umbrella for rain. Well, I forgot everything. And I ended up just getting tanned, really burnt because the sun was just obviously it was overcast, but it really shined through. All right. So what are your hobbies? All right. So I kind of got to that. sorry, headhunter, what are your hobbies? So as far as right now, I really just work out and doing my math. I really, really do enjoy following the YouTube and like learning all about YouTube. And then also growing my, you know, kind of course. Like I make a lot of content, stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to after the school year. Right now with the school year, I don't have much time for anything else besides, you know, the little bit that I do, and then family time. The bot, is it possible to make 2 styles every week? Absolutely. After this school year. That is definitely something I want to do. I want to increase these live streams, for you guys. And yeah, but, right now I am at capacity with school. So once school is over with, that is something I'm looking into definitely doing. All right. Can you give me some tips and tricks for SAT? I am not sure what SH represents, but, I would just do as many examples as possible. That'd be my example. What's your opinion on trigonometry? We just finished that for our school class. I love trigonometry. The one thing I love about trigonometry is I never understood this when I was going through school, but you know, trigonometry, like when you think about the trigonometric ratios, they're just comparisons. That's all they are. And I never thought about it like in that regard, but you have a right triangle with respect to an angle, right? You're either talking about one angle or the other, and you're just comparing the sides of the triangle, which one's bigger than the other one. And you're creating ratios. That's why we call them the trigonometric ratios. So I really enjoy trigonometry. But I will admit, I went my whole life not really truly understanding sine, cosine, and tangent until I became a teacher. And then I was like, oh, this is actually way more simple than it ever was. And I just, you know, I could do all the math. I just never really fully understood it. And it wasn't until I became a teacher that I had to like think deeper about things. And then it just kind of all made much more sense to me. Why are logarithms so annoying? Yeah, I think it's just the notation. You know, it's different than most other types of functions that we are used to. Are you going to teach scale factor? I guess maybe. I did my math also. I did very well. Very cool. And Ego saying, do you teach at high school? I teach at the high school, not at university. Real quick, I want to know how many people is everybody already done with their school year? Because Ethan's saying, when does school year end? Mine doesn't go, we go till like June 7th. So I kind of want to know how long you guys are still in school. I see a lot of people are already kind of done with their exams. And I'm kind of jealous of you guys. So let me know when you guys are finishing up, or if you still have exams coming up, because yeah, we don't have exams in my class for like another 2 or 3 more weeks. So I'm definitely jealous of you guys. Techniques of differentiation. That is a lot, Ahmed, as far as on that. But I definitely do have some playlists on my YouTube channel on that. So I have a ton of techniques on differentiation for you. But not something we're going to continue on. I'm at university. I graduate May 16th. Awesome. June 10th. Still in school. So I go to school in Jacksonville. Hey, all right. Duval. Big cat. Duval. Awesome. All right. So most of you guys are like June. Yeah, finish this. All right. Do you have any tricks that makes logarithms easier? Yes. Melissa, I am actually going to do a logarithm. I'm not sure if it's really a trick, but I do have somebody that's going to talk to me about ln. So we'll talk about that on the live stream. And then my Notability app, the reason why I was late today, because they like updated and I kept on avoiding it. I think they've been telling me they're going to update the app for like the last 3 weeks and I kept on avoiding it. And then they updated and then I had to like re-upload it. I was kind of annoyed. All right. When is your next math challenge going to be? Great question. So the math challenge really messed me up. So there's some other things. There's the other things I even forgot to tell you guys about. So we have the math challenge. So I did the math challenge and I want to kind of do some other things with that. So the math, everything got really messed up. So I had the math challenge. I also want to let you guys know, in addition to teaching, in addition to having a family of 3 young girls, in addition to running a YouTube channel and making videos, and then in addition to running an online course, I also am a licensed realtor. So I've been selling real estate for 10 years now, as well. And so obviously some of you try to find me and stuff, and that's what you find is like my realtor stuff. But yeah, so there was also some I guess, some business that had to take attention to. And so that got thrown into the mix, and I'm like, I am just at my limit. So, because obviously the real estate market, if you guys have looked at anything, it's just like going crazy right now. So I've had to put in some attention and really kind of be present for that to, give clients and past clients some advice and some information and help them along with certain situations with buying and selling. And so, yeah, it is, that has been added onto my plate. And unfortunately for the challenge, all of that kind of came into this end. So I really would like to do another challenge or do something in that regard, but we'll just have to kind of see how that fits in. All right. And does calc get any more interesting? I'm sick of finding stupid areas on the curve. Yes, it does. If you're just dealing with integration, you will just wait till you get to Calc 2, Calc 3. You get to expand a lot more with that. Nothing really that I'm that much more interested in, but I think I only went to Calc 2, and then I just started taking other math classes. But it definitely gets more advanced for sure. Yeah, Christopher, I get it, man. I totally get it. It's been a rough year for sure for everybody. I remember all my videos at the beginning of the year, trying to just pump people up, had no idea what to expect. And then, but you know what? I mean, I think the good news is we're roughly kind of here almost, I know, like a week, a month, 2 months, and we'll just, there still, we don't really know how things are going to be for next year, right? We don't really know what's, coming next. And, but I think that it's always just the purpose of, taking control of what we can control, and always looking to adjust, I think that's really something really big that we need to take into here is, what can we learn from this whole situations here? And then really not even so like, what can we learn, but what can we do about it? And, because it's not the same. And it's not going to go back to the old method. So that's the one thing I want everybody to understand. We're not going back. Things are changing. Things are changing for the good. So we got to understand how we are going to adapt to that. And what is that going to mean for us? And I think that's going to be really important for those of you that still have a couple more years of school, maybe a couple more years in university. You really got to kind of think about, what is it you want out of your education, and what are you prepared, for your choices and decisions to make. And I don't really know what that all entails. I'm being very vague with that, but I definitely think that everything that we've gone through in this past year, and over a year now, has fundamentally changed the way that education is going to be perceived and delivered. So that relationship has been changed between the teacher, the parent, society, the student. Everything has changed, and it's not going back to the old ways. All right. Oh, geez, man, you guys asked me a lot of questions. My favorite math class, I do really, really love pre-calculus, and I really do love graph theory. Those are my two kind of favorites. And yes, I do play rugby. Well, I haven't played in a couple of years, but I did play for a good 10 years during college and outside of college. All right. Well, you are very welcome, Caleb and Evan. No worries, Christopher. No worries at all. Well, awesome, Melissa. I'm happy to be able to help. Yes, I do play. Is there a way to find domain of composition of functions? Yes, you have to find the domain of the, you know what? I will do a function for you. You'll be my number 9. How does that sound? So 9, let's do f of x. All right, but if you're going to spam it, I'm going to take it away. So don't do that. Let's just do x squared, and g of x equals, let's square root of x minus 1. And then what is the domain of, let's do f of g of x. Let's do that one. Okay. What is your opinion on algebra? I love algebra. It's the foundation of everything you need. So yeah, you definitely need that. Mr. William, your real estate reviews are exceptional. Well, thank you so much. I don't push my real estate at all. I used to, but once I started having children, it was just becoming a little too much for me. So, but yeah, there's definitely some older reviews, and obviously I've been selling real estate, even when I've had children, I still sell real estate. So, I'm still active, but yeah, that's, it's something something I've always enjoyed, just to kind of break up from the teaching and online and everything like that. Oh, well, thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Well, hey, Melinda, good to have you back. Hopefully you're off work. And actually, Melinda, you got to go back and check out the beginning of the stream, because there's a lot of information that hopefully I meant to get back with you so you understood, because you didn't even know. I haven't even gone on my Discord in it feels like a month, but I think it's been like 2 weeks. But either way, there's a lot on there. So, but either way, maybe after the stream, I'll go on the Discord. I'll give you a quick little heads up. Yes, Melinda, the OG on the Discord. All right. How do you manage teaching real estate family on YouTube? It seems like a lot to handle. Yes, it is. That's very, very much so. You're right. That's why I'm crazy. Awesome. All right. So, well, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, I will say, though, it's been a little bit, last couple of years has been easier. I mean, I've been doing real estate for 10 years. So, I mean, I kind of have that down pat, as far as the process. Same thing with teaching, I've been teaching, same thing. Well, I've been teaching pre-calculus. So I've built out my course, which I released this year. So my students are kind of following through that course. So that's not as bad. But yes, I am in Mandarin High School in Jacksonville. Thank you. I don't know what I was going to say, but yeah, throwing off kids, that's been difficult. And now that we have our third one in the way, that has been extremely busy now, because now once you get home, now it's just all hands on deck, and there's not really much you can do. Our girls are now a little bit old enough where they can kind of play, but an infant, they kind of need all of your attention, or at least my wife's attention mostly at the moment. But obviously there's other things now that my wife's doing that, then there's other things that I got to do. Can you take calculus before taking pre-calculus? I guess you could. Yeah, I guess you could if you wanted to, but I don't really would advise, because there's a lot that you want to understand from pre-calculus into calculus. So it just really depends on your math knowledge and where you want to get that information. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason why the course is called pre-calculus, because there's a lot of stuff that's taught in pre-calculus preparing you for calculus. You can get that other stuff on your own, maybe, but I don't really see that's going to be setting you up for success. So I would advise going through a pre-calculus, even if it seems easy at the beginning, because a lot of pre-calculus courses, are tackling a lot of algebra 2. And that's what a lot of people will say, oh, it's just like algebra 2 again. And yes, there is a lot of functions and polynomials and a lot of algebra 2 plus stuff, it feels like. But that's the same thing with calculus. I mean, when you go into a calculus, you're going to be dealing with a lot of those, you're going to be dealing with a lot of the functions, obviously. So it's going to be something that you really want to build up on. All right. Now I'm starting to get a lot of questions, and we still got 30 minutes. So I got to get started on my live stream, guys. I apologize. I forgot to add in there. I posted this. No worries. Not really sure, guys. I forgot to add this, though, if you guys do have a question. So let's go through the things. If you guys do have a question for me, then I do apologize, because I only have, I think, 8 questions and 9 questions that we're going to cover tonight. But if you do have a question for me, feel free to go to the brianmclogan.com Q&A. If you'd also like to sign up for my kind of weekly email that I send out, letting you guys know about the live stream, letting you guys know about the topic that I usually like to talk about at the beginning, then you guys can go ahead and sign up from there. And then also, if you do not want to wait till a week, or I don't get to your question, because ladies and gentlemen, I do not get to everybody's question. I get anywhere between 20 and 30 questions each and every week. And I usually do not have enough time to go ahead and spend time thinking through your questions, which I really would like to be able to do. I just don't have the time or the capacity to do it. So if you don't make your question very easy and straightforward for me to be able to answer, I have to skip it and move on. So if I don't get to your question, or it's maybe something I need to review or look back up again, it's just the reality of my time. I'm not going to be able to add it onto the live stream. So you can also go to the link for Discord, where we have an amazing community over there that is growing each and every day, of people helping each other out with their math questions. Post a question, answer a question. Just don't be there asking questions. Help other people out, because I really do believe in that math karma, that by you helping other people, people are going to be helping you out. And I think that the Discord is something awesome that you guys can really grow through. You can be learning math like all the way through, and I want to continue growing the Discord to help other people out with their math, no matter what level they're at. So that is literally go. Well, thank you, Musica. All right. I'm going to do it around. So, all right. So let's go ahead and get started. So question number 1 is, how do I improve my MAP score, SAT, and EOC? So kind of a loaded question. There's a lot going on here. What I would just basically do, there's a couple things that I would say. A couple things. Practice. I think every single test and exam that I am aware of has some sort of like practice test or study guide. You got to practice going through the problems. You got to go through those motions. I'm like, even my students, we're doing a pre-calculus. I'm giving them a mock exam. Like they have a review of 108 questions that they're going to do. And then I'm going to give them a practice review, which is another 36 questions. So, they're going to be like mathed out, right? But it's a very important, like when you're getting into this testing format, and again, like it's the necessary evil. I'm not 100% on board with everything on what you guys have to go through for testing. But I want to, people want to know, hey, I know it's high stakes. I know you guys have a lot riding on your scores and your grades and stuff. So to give my students the best leg up in, competing against other students and other, schools in the district, I'm going to make sure that they get in the work that they need, right? It's one thing to learn, which is great, but you got to put in the practice. And then I also think it's really important to spiral review. So one thing that's kind of hurt me this year was just, with the amount of homework. But I always like to, once we've learned something, I don't want to just like, don't forget about it till the end of the year. Like I always like to add in problems. So if you don't have an exam for another couple weeks, I'd recommend start doing like 1 or 2 problems. Go back to chapter 1, go back to chapter 2, quarter 1, quarter 2. Just pick like 2 or 3 problems and just start doing them now, just to start remembering what you previously learned. I think it's really, really important for you guys to be able to do that. So I would say practice and spiral review. Okay. Next one. Jada was saying she had something with algebra 2 and a review. So she wanted to add that. Now it's very important for you to understand, if I have like the square root of 3 plus like 2 square root of 3, okay, these have the same radicand. So when you have the same radicand, you can think of like a 1 here. That's going to be a 3 square root of 3. Or actually, let me write it like this. So therefore, that's going to be 1 plus 2 square root of 3, which is a 3 square root of 3. Okay, so as long as the radicand and the index, right, that's a square root, cube root, as long as they're the same, you can just combine them like terms and then just add their coefficients. So you can see here, we do not have these the same. So we're going to have to simplify them. Now, actually, I'm not even sure. That wouldn't even simplify, would it? Because that's going to be 1632. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just factor this. I just picked, she gave me a worksheet, and I was like, I'm not doing a worksheet, but I'll at least do one problem for you. Blue Crate, get on the Discord and you'll see, man. It's awesome. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to break them down. So the first thing that I do is I recognize I can rewrite square root of 72 as 36 times 2. So in this case, you guys can see that we can't add these together, right? They don't have the same radicands. But let's go ahead and see if we can simplify them. And then this, I can break up 48 as 16 times 3. All right. Now, the rules of radicals allows you to break this up into square root of 36 times the square root of 2 plus 2 times the square root of 16 times the square root of 3. Okay, so you can break up the radicals across multiplication. So the square root of 36 is 6 times the square root of 2 plus 2 times 4. I hate when that happens. Times the square root of 3. And unfortunately, though, my radicands are not the same. So there's nothing I can do here. Now, if they were the same, you could combine them, right? You could combine like terms like we did before. But in this case, that is not there. So therefore, that's what we are stuck with. All right, question number 3, fx equals 2x to the 4th plus 3x cubed minus 42x squared, blah, 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 blah. So the maximum number of relative extrema. Actually, I'm not sure if that'd be the same as the extrema. I'd have to think about that. As the relative extrema compared to the maximum. I'm not sure. I'm just going to go with extrema and not deal with the relative. Because the maximum number of zeros is going to be 4. So the maximum number of extrema, I'm not really sure. I'd have to go back and remember and review as far as like if there be any difference between relative or that. Or if there's any kind of importance with using the word relative instead of just extrema. But that's going to be 3. So that's going to be the degree minus 1. So if you remember like zeros is n, this would be n minus 1. So let's go and find the right-hand behavior. So again, for the right-hand behavior, we don't really care about anything else as long as it's in standard form. Then all we want to do is look at what we call our leading coefficient. So for our leading coefficient, we're looking for our coefficient 2, right? And then we have the degree of 4. So we can say degree is equal to 4. And my leading coefficient is 2. Okay, so if my degree is even, it's going to be open up, open left, or opens left, opens right, or falls left, falls right. And the leading coefficient is going to be a positive 2. So therefore, it's going to rise to the left and rise to the right. And Melinda getting right back into it. I'm seeing, wow, I'm like, dang, that was quick. I keep on seeing those back over there. I was like, back at it. Thank you so much for comes in and geez, oh man, some people, thank you very much. So the left-hand behavior is going to be going towards infinity, and the left-hand behavior is going to be infinity. The x-intercept is when y is equal to 0. So if you plug 0 in for y, you'd have to go, I would have to be able to graph that. So I'm not going to go from there because I don't think this is, I wouldn't be able to factor that. So you're going to want to definitely graph that one from on there. The y-intercept, though, is going to be at 0, negative 24, because that is when x is equal to 0. Okay, so I just go and plug it in from there, but that'd be your easiest from that. All right. Question number 4. I don't understand long division. Can you explain it? And this is from Kiwana. Sorry. And you know, it's, I don't know if they were talking about long division with just regular numbers, which I'm not very like something used to like explaining, or with the polynomials. But, you know, I guess the best that I can, you know, kind of do is just kind of look at this idea of like, you know, 10 divided by 3. Like we know 10 divided by 3 goes into there, like 10 goes into, like 10 goes in there 3 times, right? Because we can break this up into 3, and that's going to have what? Like we said, like a remainder 1, right? Because 3 times 3 is equal to 9, right? And then if you added 1, and then if you did 9 plus 1, that'd equal 10, right? So we know this goes in there 3 times, and that's going to be remainder 1. So the nice thing about, I would say, the reason why I think long division is kind of helpful is it kind of goes back of using the base system. And I think students are getting a little bit better understanding of our use of our base system, because 3 does not divide into 1, but 3 does go into 10, right? And we could say 3 times. And then 3 times 3 is 9. You subtract the rows, and that's going to give you a 1, which we call our remainder. Now, the other way that we can write this quotient is I can rewrite this as 3 plus my remainder over my divisor. Plus, yeah. So if you take this 3 plus 1/3, and that should equal 10. And of course it does, right? If you take 3 plus 1/3, guess what it equals? That's going to equal 10. Because if I go ahead and do this, if I get the common denominator, I would multiply 3 over 3, and that'd be 9/3 plus 1/3. Oh, that's equal, sorry, doesn't equal 10. That equals 10/3, right? Which is, again, originally what my original question was going for. So I'm not really sure if that really explains it. Obviously, you have the long division algorithm, that is like that step-by-step that I'm assuming maybe you wanted a little bit more explanation on. But I don't really know what you need. So usually I don't like answering these questions, but because I'm not really sure where you needed help with. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to go through on this. I'll just leave it at that. Leave it simple. And maybe if you want to come back, if you want something more in depth, if you want it with numbers, more detailed long division, or if you want it with polynomials. All right, question number 5. Question number 5 was ln of e equals, what is ln? So ln is what we call the natural logarithm. And then the student was also asking something like, the question was always asking, or someone was saying like, what is a logarithm? So my favorite way to like explain logarithms is to look at this example. So 2 cubed is equal to 8, right? Now, what if we didn't know 2 cubed is equal to 8? Like 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2, right? So what if I had like 2 to the x equals 8? Well, how would I solve for x? Okay, that means I basically need to get x off the denominator, right? So what we do to solve for x is we use what we call this our logarithm. So we say log base 2 of 8 equals x. Okay, this is our logarithm expression. And what this basically says is we say the log base 2 of 8. What that's saying is 2 raised to what power is going to equal 8? And that's obviously our answer x, right? So if we were to put this in logarithmic equation, we'd say log base 2 of 8 equals 3, right? And it makes sense. 2 raised to what number equals 8? Well, that answer is 3. So where does this log and ln come from? Well, ln is a natural logarithm. So rather than having a base of 2, the natural logarithm has a base of e, okay? And rather than writing the base of e, we just use ln. So ln of e is really just the same thing as ln, okay? So actually, I'll just write it like that. ln, well, you usually want to put an argument in there. So if I said ln base e of x, that's going to be the same thing as ln of x. But you usually want to have an argument because when we say like the logarithm base 2 of 8, this would be the ln of x, right? You want to have some kind of argument inside those. And then also the other thing is like, so let's kind of go again. Let's do one more rule of logarithms here. So if I had log base 2 of 2, that's basically saying 2 raised to what number equals 2? We'd say, hey, that's 1. That's easy, right? Actually, I'll do it over here. So then if I said, well, what's ln of e? Well, really, remember, that's ln base e of e. E raised to what number is e? 1. So this answer is 1, which the student was originally asking me. All right. The next one is find the value of x that makes the triangle CDE similar to triangle FGH. So again, if they're going to be similar, that means they're going to be if they're going to be similar, that means they're going to be proportional, right? So what that means is we can create a ratio. So if I have a ratio, 35 is to 25, right? So that's this triangle, this is that triangle. So we'll call this one big and that one small. So big is a small. Now, if you want to go ahead and solve for x, what we'll simply do is just take another side. And we'll say, all right, well, that's going to be 28 is to 4x, right? Well, now we can just go ahead and use the cross product and go ahead and solve for x. Now, I did do this before. So let's see, 4x times 35 equals 25 times 28. Okay, so let's go and see what we get here. So, oh, I did that. So that's going to be 140x, and that's going to equal to 700. And then divide by 140, divide by 140. And you get x is equal to 5. Okay, and you could also have done the same thing with the line with the side GH, and that would have been it, guys, and you would have gotten x equals 5. Well, thank you, Andrew. I greatly appreciate that. That's awesome. All right, question number 7. I didn't look at this one. I was like, I'll be able to do this one. This is a very similar one to one that we like to be able to do. So kind of talking about those logarithms. Let's go through, continuing on. I thought it'd be a good idea to go through this. So if I said the log, let's just say base 2. Now, the interesting thing is like, what if I said like -2? Like 2 raised to what number? So what does this equal, right? Let's say it's x. That means basically saying 2 raised to what number equals -2? Well, the thing is, guys, there's no number that you can take 2 to that's going to make it equal to a -2, right? Because 2 to the first power is 2. 2 to the negative first power is 1/2, right? So you cannot take the logarithm of a negative number, right? The argument cannot be negative, all right? Nor can it equal to 0. So when we're looking into this, what we're basically going to do is you're going to take your argument, 1 minus x, and you're going to set it greater than 0. So in this case, we can just go ahead and add the x. So x has to be less than 0. So that is going to be their definition. And then again, I don't think we need to worry about it being equal to 0 because the logarithm already has a asymptote at 0. So we don't need to worry about it being 0 because the only other domain restriction that we have here on the domain is our denominator being 0. But that's not going to happen because it can't work for the argument of logarithm anyways. So my domain would be all real numbers that are less than 0. I believe. Hope so. Hi, Gauss, Jaden, Geico. How you guys doing? Do you have any video on compound probability and independent events? We're doing that now. I do. I think if you look at, it was a couple of years ago that we did do that kind of stuff. So you can definitely go and check that. I do. If you look at the playlist in Algebra 2, I believe I do have like independent events and like a statistics and probability playlist. X is less than, oh, yeah, it is less than 1. Thank you. Good catch, Jesse. I like added the 1 over there and I forgot to do it. So yes, thank you. X is less than 1. Which makes sense, right? Because when you plug it in there, when you plug any number less than 1, that's going to be greater than 1. Oh, getting tired. Excuse me. All right, 10 more minutes left. 2 more problems. I think we got this. So describe how the function g of x equals. Oh, and then also if there's any other questions that I didn't get to at the beginning, not so much math questions, but about myself that you guys want to ask, feel free. I mean, I'll be able to do maybe another math question, but I don't want to spend too much time for you guys. And Gate95 asked a question. Your look hasn't changed a bit the last 8 years. What's your secret? Don't say math. I appreciate it. I don't know. You have to, if you look back at my, I'll tell you a funny story after I'm done with these 2 problems. Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story about that. So describe how the function g of x equals x squared plus 8 over 9 relates to the graph of x squared. Okay. So we see we're adding a number. So basically this is like an x squared plus c. Okay. It doesn't matter what this number is. Now this might look confusing because it has a fraction. The x squared plus, this looks like it's going to be some kind of confusing kind of value. But again, when you're adding a value to a function outside of the function, that's going to just be shifting the graph up and down, right? If you add that value inside of the function, like inside the parentheses or under or within the argument, that's going to be shifting the graph left or right. So in this case, all we're simply doing is shifting the graph up 8/9. And it's kind of weird because that's, how often do we really shift something up 8/9? But that's exactly what we are doing in this scenario. All right, and then the last one is fx. So we have 2 functions, and then we can find the domain of the composition. So when you are finding the domain of the composition, what you want to do is find the domain of your input as well as the domain of the composition. So it's the domain of the input intersected with the domain of the composition. Okay, so it's the domain of the input intersect with the domain of the composition. So let's go and see what we have here. So I have the domain of my input, which is x minus 1, right? Well, that means x has to be greater than or equal to, not 0, 1, right? Because you can't take a square root of a negative number, all right? So now let's go and do the composition. So we have f of g of x. Basically what that is telling us to do is we're going to plug the g of x function into the fx function, right? So we're going to have a square root of x minus 1 quantity squared. Now, what's going to be happening? Well, the square root and the square is going to undo, right? We're just going to be left with x minus 1. But you don't want to say like that's the domain all real numbers, right? Because remember, so this domain, right, is all real numbers. But again, remember, it's the intersection of the domain of your input and the domain of the composition. So if I'm going to intersect a domain that's from greater than 1, and I'm going to intersect that with a domain that's all real numbers, well, the only time that's going to be true for both of them is going to be from 1 to infinity. So my domain of f of g of x is going to be 1 to infinity. And that's the interval notation. All right. So that's it, guys. From there, let me know if you guys have any other questions. I'll probably stand for just a couple more minutes left, you guys. As I did mention at the beginning, if you guys do have any questions you want to go and submit, feel free to go ahead and add them into the Google form. You guys can also go and add them into the Discord. My time has been obviously limited with our newborn from on there, but yeah, I always try to do my best to be able to get your questions. So feel free to go and add in, or if you have any other questions about myself, which a lot of you guys got in from there. But yeah, find the extrema using the second derivative test. Well, yeah, just take the derivative twice, and then you're gonna have to look at. See, this is the problem. The second derivative test. That's what you're gonna be looking at. You're gonna be looking at the signs from the first derivative, second derivative. You're gonna be looking at concavity. That's right. Yes. But Linda, it's not something I've gone through, things that I'm not going to go through on this. But yeah, for a second derivative, I believe you were looking for your sign, or your sign's going to tell you your concavity. Right. Yeah, that was it. Thank you, Joseph Richter. Yes, FAMA chill. Man, why you guys get so quick? Well, thank you, Addie. I greatly appreciate that and your support. And also, yeah, it's been very busy, difficult times, but I am looking forward to kind of getting somewhat back in track. Real estate kind of went off on its own, and then obviously having a new baby came in, and it's like, that's a whole bunch to deal with. And then it's like the end of the year. I was doing my 30-day challenge. It's a lot. No, don't you worry. Ethan, what's up? Man, thank you. Have a great episode. Congrats on the newborn. Also, good luck with the rest of the busy school year. Well, thank you so much, Ethan, and I hope you have a great rest of your school year as well. I greatly appreciate all of your support. You are awesome. Thank you. Inscribed angle, I should know. That's going to be an angle inscribed or inside of your triangle. I don't remember. I have to go and look at. But yeah. So I don't know. I'm already inscribed angle. That's going to be, I believe, from there. But I mean, you're only a Google search away. So not something I am remembering off the top of my head, but I believe that's going to get from there if I do so remember correctly. All right. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week. So hope you guys good luck on your exams. The baby's name is Ada, and yes, mommy and daddy are doing just fine. So thank you so much, guys, for all of your support, and I look forward to seeing you guys on this chat and then bringing you guys some new content for you guys up there. So I will see you guys. Ooh, Caesar. Pi n. I'm not sure, Mr. McLogan. How should I study for my limits exam? Do examples. Do a lot of examples. Just keep on going. Examples. Practice. Study. You guys are going to do awesome. I wish you guys all the best. Oh, MTS, you know what? I was just about to say goodbye, and then you said funny story. Dang it. All right. So it's not really that funny of a story. Okay. So, oh yes, Addie, yes, you're sharing some similarities for sure. But Ada, Addie. But let me go and see. All right. So it's not really a funny story. Okay. Let's get that out of the way. But I did kind of say it was funny to me because, it kind of, so let's kind of go through the timeline. If you guys watch my videos, you might see this, but I always just kind of laugh because high school students are, or not high school, it could have been college. I have no idea. So when I first became a teacher, I was heavy into rugby. So I was very thick built, I guess you would say, right? I mean, I was just very strong neck, working out, very toned up and stuff like that. And just heavy set, but, working out. But, like bigger, thicker, I guess I would say, that was my build for the rugby. So then I did that. And then I don't know what it was. Then I started coaching wrestling. And once I became wrestling, I don't know, I got on like this green tea addiction or something. And then also I was wrestling with my students or my wrestlers, because the best way to teach is like you have to wrestle. So I was literally going to wrestling practice. I'd wrestle with these guys for like 2 or 3 hours. And then I would go to like rugby practice still. I was still playing rugby. And so I just like started dropping weight. And so you might see some videos in maybe like the 2013, 14 years where I'm just like skinny. Like I dropped, I don't know, probably 20, 30 pounds. Like I didn't need as much of that weight on the rugby field. But it's just, that's all I was doing was working out. So, doing wrestling. So I lost a ton of weight and I was really, really skinny. So you'll see some videos out there where you're like, whoa, you look completely different. Like you're very skinny. And yeah, that's because I was working out. Like it was like I was going back to high school. I was working out 5 days a week. And then obviously I stopped becoming a wrestling coach. And then I just started gaining a crap ton of weight because my body wasn't used to like working out 5 days a week and not working out 5 days a week. So then there's more videos of like, I don't know, 2016, 2018, where I'm just like much more heavier set. Like I was playing rugby, but not really as serious as I was back in the day. So I wasn't really like toned. I just kind of look, unathletic, fatter, gained a whole bunch of pounds, for the thing. And, and then now I'm like, all right, I gotta get back. I can't play rugby. My body can't handle it, but I gotta work out. So now I'm working out every day. So, hopefully I don't feel fat or too skinny. That's just kind of where I'm at. So anyways, the funny story was, or at least the funny thing I just cracked up on was, I remember like looking through my comments, because I look through my comments, every day and try to answer what I can. And I just remember somebody commented like, Mr. McLogan, like I've been watching your videos, like you look good, like you're skinny, then you're fat, and then you're skinny, then you're fat. And I just kind of felt like, those people that always go on diets, and that wasn't me at all. But it was just kind of funny because it is true. Like I was like, kind of like fat and then skinny, then fat and then skinny. And like, so I do appreciate somebody mentioned in the comment, that I look well or have an age. And I appreciate that. It's just kind of funny though. Like when you record your life for like 10 years, you can see like all those different things that you've gone through. And it's like, I don't know. It was funny. Like I said, it's not a funny story, but I remember it made me crack reading up that because it's true for on there. So, Pin is the new reciprocal for cosecant. So wouldn't that just be the sign from that? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. All right. You guys have a great week, and I will see you next week. Cheers.